prioritization between protecting your kids and then versus, which is, I don't even know if you could really put it like this, but we're thinking in particular, like, how do you think about protecting your kids versus preparing them for the real world?
Engage, talk with them. We would talk about all the things at dinner, or in the car, or nothing was off limits.
Okay.
With our kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that, and again, I think the protection, if you look at like the book of Proverbs, the father is teaching, he's imparting wisdom, right? He's teaching the child, the son, how to think, how to engage the world. He's not teaching him necessarily, don't ever do that and don't do that and don't do that. You know what I'm saying? He's teaching them, like he's warning him, like there are these certain people and there's these circumstances and these kinds of folks, be aware of these situations. He's imparting wisdom, a way to see the world. So again, to me, it's less about prohibition and more about really instilling wisdom.
Yeah. Just like conjuring up memories of at the dinner table, the kids would often, especially if there was something going on, in the world that was a big event or politically or whatever, and they would come home and start saying, well, so-and-so at school said this or so-and-so said that, and their parents have this opinion. So it just was like, wow, what an entryway into a really great conversation to, explore those different ideologies or, what we believe about, it was an invitation, really.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, I kind of want to make them, I want them to be, I don't know the right word about it, but safe to go out into the world so that they can be in spaces and absorb different views and hear things that, I know my mom and dad don't think that way. I don't think that's how we see this, but I can be in this room with you and I can have this conversation and, then they knew they can come home and talk and, share ideas. Yeah, process. And so that's really what we were committed to. There were obviously like certain movies, at certain ages, music, environments, that we would just like, no, you're not doing that. Like, that's not a good idea, right. So there was obviously, there were things that we would, but I'm just saying that was a relatively short list,
Okay.
And also, I mean, I guess we are lucky. Our kids weren't asking to do crazy things. They weren't hanging out with kids that, for the most part, that were getting into a lot of trouble. So, right? I mean, I don't remember that being an issue for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, I know they had friends that struggled. I know our kids struggled, and so like they, I knew that was going on and they were, kind of running into some of the, especially as they get into middle school and high school, some of the struggles there. And that's, again, you're kind of in that space you're trying to influence, and you can't really control a whole lot, but you can really influence and be compassionate and be present there for, so.
Navigating as you go.
Yeah. I think
I don't think it would be wise to say, well, we're just never, you're never going to do this. As a parent, we're never going to. It's like, you can't do that.
There's just not that many things, that goes really well on.
So you were focused less on protecting them from a whole lot of stuff and more on walking with them and talking with them about what they were engaging with, about what they were experiencing.
Yeah, Jesus said that it's not what goes into man that contaminates him, it's what comes out. And to me, in a lot of ways, like this idea of like, I wanted to almost create a filtering system. We wanted to like give them a way of thinking and seeing and processing so that they're going to be bombarded with information. Yeah, that's inevitable. They're just going to get out into the world and be metabolizing stuff that's like, oh gosh, So I wanted them to have this sort of spiritual, internal kind of, again, virtue framework where now you can like, I've taken this in, what am I going to do with that? How does that come out? And so we didn't have any rules, there was a time in my life where it was like when I was growing up where my parents, it was like a threat. Like you can't listen to anything but Christian music, and not even just Christian music, but certain kinds of Christian music. And
we had that too.
Yeah. And so, that was just like an impossible, it just creates this really, again, the property lines get really small there, and the chances of you wandering off are really good. And so, it's like, I mean, if you're just trying to gin up a lot of tension and controversy in the house, I guess you can set those kinds of rules, but I'm not sure that's the best way of going about it. I mean, you know, we were always listening to music and, you know, taking that in, taking them to concerts. We had friends that were musicians, so they would get to know them. And so they, you know, music was definitely a big part of our lives growing up and still is. And so, you know, they all love music and all kinds of different music, you know. And so we were always just trying to kind of cultivate that curiosity with the world around them and just, make them resilient to go out into the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot because that is the most durable, most robust way to really prepare them. Because if you're just protecting them from a whole lot of things, eventually they're going to encounter it, right? And then if they haven't been prepared for it, that can cause real problems.
Yeah.
Actually, we see this a lot in maybe the most notable or the most obvious or the most clear is the Amish. When they have like the Rumspringa time and they'll go crazy, you know, I mean, it's it's like a whole nother world, you know, and they just sort of go nuts.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but that's, I think, an example of that.
Yeah. No, I think that's kind of just human nature.
Yeah. And two, like this is like, we like to hear this maybe in part selfishly because like that's our philosophy also. That's how we're doing it with our kids. It's our general MO. And also sort of like just talking about stuff. Like they're on this kick right now where Aria, I know the S word, you know, I know the F word. She probably shouldn't know that one, but it's like,
the F word isn't even the F word to her.
Oh, really?
It's something else.
Oh,
so
okay.
she'll say,
Well, great.
I know the S word, and it's
like, well,
OMG,
what?
You know?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just be like, oh, you mean shit? You know what I mean? It's like, what's the S word? Like, you may as well just say it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big a deal, you know? So sort of just like demystifying it a little bit and then talking through it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's that, to me, again, it's just back to like you're building virtue, you know, and you're building that internal structure that gives wisdom and direction that then will lead to values that align with those, you know, beliefs and virtues. So values. Yeah.